So that's looking back down the Rue d'Espagne, and we're heading out that way. Had an interesting evening in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port yesterday. I overheard a Scottish accent, which of course has been some time since I left Scotland, and so I started chatting to this chap who was called Stuart, and he was with an American gentleman called Ray Mouton, who apparently is an author and has spent 40 years going to the bull runnings in Pamplona, and has written a very famous book called Pamplona. And sure enough, it's been checked out on the internet. It's there. I had a good chat with him and said I'd get the book when I'm in Pamplona, which should be in about 3 days' time. And but one of the things that he was saying was that Emilio Estevez, I believe, and Martin Sheen were in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port just a few weeks ago, and there's a film which will be released. I don't know if it's even been released recently, but a film called The Way, which is a fictional story, but involves some chap walking the Camino de Santiago, which begins here. Well, a lot of Spanish people start in Spain, Roncesvalles, which is the next stop. There's a little bit more information on here about the Port d'Espagne. It basically says that even in the early morning today, the cobblestones here can still resound with the noise of pilgrims' footsteps as they head off for the much feared journey through the Pyrenees after a night's repose and a night's rest in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. Well, it's true we had a reasonable night's rest, as good a night's rest as you can get in a room full of snoring pilgrims. Yeah, refreshed, good little breakfast, and I don't know, is it much feared? I suppose for people encountering it for the first time, it's really just a strenuous walk. It's up, and I suppose in the Middle Ages perhaps there was the added danger of bandits, and perhaps not everyone setting off on the route was in the best of health. But yes, it leads to Roncesvalles, is the French for Roncesvalles in Spain, which passes over 1,000 metres. I think it gets up to about 1,400 metres at some point. Yeah, there's another pass through the Pyrenees called the Somport Pass, but there's a much greater likelihood of snow there, which is why most people choose to head this way. Still possible. Janine said there's even a possibility of snow today, so that could be interesting. If you never see me again, me and OG are buried under a pile of snow on the top of the Pyrenees. There we go. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else interesting here. The only road accessible to horses and carts. A major trade link between East and West since antiquity. The route to Roncesvalles was also used by shepherds and their flocks, Roman legions, Charlemagne's army on its way to attack the Saracens, the troops of Ferdinand the Catholic, and Charles V on the way to conquest the Royaume de Navarre, the Navarre kingdom, and much later by Napoleon's soldiers who named it Napoleon's route, and that's how we know it today, the Napoleon's route, or the artillery road. So that's the route that we're using today. Only advisable in reasonable weather. Well, it's foggy, but apparently it should clear up later. So there we go. Off we go on Napoleon's route.